Hello everyone. For this module, I have attempted to collect data from Twitter using one of the free applications mentioned by Ahmad Bath and DeMartini in page 4 of the 2017 book chapter that we have also read for this module. They list few applications that can be used to retrieve data from Twitter, and from the list they mentioned, I choose this thing called Tags. Tags stands for Twitter Archiving Google Sheet and was developed by a person by the name of Martin Hoxsey as a hobby in 2010. He claims it was as a hobby, and since then there have been 6 major versions of it. The website is not large, is easy to navigate, is fairly easy to navigate, and has a support page and links to other resources also. Once you click on this button on the home page, you're taken to a page where you can choose either of these two versions, version 6.0 and version 6.1. I chose version 6.1 since he basically recommends it here that a new user choose version 6.1. A thing to note is that the video that's embedded in the home page, an introductory video, relates with version 6.0. Once you click this button, you're taken to another page where there is just one option. If you're going to do it for the first time, you'll be asked to link your Gmail account with a Twitter account and agree to a few of the terms and conditions. Since I've already done that, it's not asking me, it'll not obviously not ask me to do it here. A thing to note before we go further is that when I went, a thing to note before we go any further is that one of the narrators in one of the YouTube videos was saying that whenever you use tags to retrieve archival data from Twitter, it's always a good idea to have a new, to set up a new Gmail account and a new Twitter account dedicated, specifically dedicated to that particular purpose, so you can keep your personal or academic accounts on Twitter outside of this thing that you are doing. Once I click on this and the second button, this particular Google spreadsheet opens up, and the first thing to do is create a copy of the file. What you can do is that you can click here and make a copy. Normally the file is saved in your Google Drive. For example, let's say I qual research and save it in the Google Drive. Now this file will open a copy of the file. You can go and close the old file if you want. There are a few things that you can do in this spreadsheet. The first and the most important is obviously to input a term with or without a hashtag that you're interested in. You can input multiple words, one word, multiple words, or hashtags in with or without Boolean operators. For this example, I'll just use qual research. So I'm basically instructing this particular query to look for tweets that has the hashtag qual research mentioned in their tweets. You also have the option of changing few of the parameters that come preloaded in the tag spreadsheet. 3000, for example, 3000 is the default number of maximum tweet this particular query will be pulling at this particular time. If you want, you can again increase or decrease. One of the narrators of the YouTube video was saying it's not a good idea to have a large number because it'll the application will run very slow, and there's a chance that again it'll freeze up. But once I input this term here, I can go to tags and press on this button called run now to do that. But before I do that, there are a few other things that I can do in this particular spreadsheet. As you might have noticed, the spreadsheet comes by default with just two sheets. One is this thing that we're playing around with, readme settings, and the other is the results sheet that's been labeled as archives, what you can do is that you can go to tags and again import a few sheets that'll basically help in summarizing the information that we retrieve subsequently. It's again asking me to attach this particular new sheet with my Gmail account. Again, you need to consent to the terms and conditions. So once you add that, this thing here comes up. I'm again going to go and add another dashboard sheet. Since I just attached it to my Twitter account, it's not asking me at this point of time. One thing you should be very careful is, and I spent a few hours wondering what the mistake that I was making was that once you download these two sheets, there's this red button. You need to initialize these buttons, otherwise when you fire in that query, the information will not be coming in these sheets. So you go to both the sheets that you just downloaded, and then you initialize them. Then you go to, I guess you can do it from any place. You go up here in the tags and fire in that query labeled run now. So you can see it was running and it now shows finished. As it finishes, it'll normally it'll show the number of tweets. So I've just asked tags to look for tweets that contain a hashtag labeled qual research. So it returned me just 19 tweets. Why 19 tweets? It seems that Twitter doesn't allow, unless you go in for the paid versions, you cannot download tweets for with extensive number of days. So by default, it'll just return data for 3 days. Just for 3 days. So you can look at various sheets that have different information. What I found interesting, very interesting, is that in this website, basically almost everything is included. So there are some fields in columns. I don't exactly know at this point of time what those information add. For example, in this particular cell, this tweet was originated by a Twitter handle called Doel Research. This is what the Twitter is, what the Twitter contains. So let us go and see whether, yeah, here it is, the qual research that I was looking in for in a tweet. So this tweet, this person was tweeting when it was created, the time, date, the language it was tweeted in, and then again, if you click on this particular link, you can again see the if the Twitter user had a photo or not. So this is the photo of the Twitter handle that's been attached to the Twitter handle. If you go to another link, this particular user has 414 followers and 2009 friends. The tweet was tweeted from a place in Chicago, in Illinois. And in the other cell, if you just click it, you can again go and have a look at the tweet itself. The tweet that was so this lady called Kathy Doyle had come out with this particular tweet. Again, it can be a retweet or it can be a fresh tweet from the same person. So basically, it just gives you a snapshot of everything about that particular Twitter handle. Again, you can export these information in Excel and do different kinds of analysis. You might want to see how many tweets were in English or from one geographic area. Based on, again, you can create filters based on the users the person is following and things like that, whatever you need to do. In this particular sheet, if you go in this particular sheet, it'll again give you different summary of what those 19 tweets were about. And in this particular sheet also, again, so you can see there were just tweets although it looked for 3 days, the last 3 days, it found only tweets in the last 2 days, and 6 tweets have been retweeted. And sorry, this particular tweet was retweeted 6 times. This particular tweet was retweeted for 4 times. Again, you can look at the numbers, because I just looked at a term that didn't have much tweets. It is looking very less. But if you use terms like say hashtag our president names, I'm sure there will be thousands of tweets around this particular in this particular location. One another thing that you can do is that you can export this whatever you've done, and you can share it with your friends. And the way you can do is that you need to come and click here. If you click here, it'll export. It'll start exporting. So what you're seeing is that there's a error in query. Again, I needed to spend a few hours to understand what I was doing wrong. So if you close this, if you go here, what needs to be done is that since you're trying to save it with other people, the first thing that you need to do is that you need to share it with other people. There's an option called share. You click on it, then there are a few options. You can you can make it open so that anybody can edit. You can make it open so that only people who have those links can comment. Or what you can do is that you shut down the comment and edit option, and you can just make sure that people can just view, but only people with whom you've shared the link. So I'm choosing the third option. Done. There's another thing that one needs to do. We need to go and initialize this button called publish to web. Again, there are options you can choose. By default, it's this thing, so I just hit publish. So now what you can do is that I can copy this link and send it to anybody. That person can come and again have a look at it's kind of a shared Google document. It becomes a shared Google document. Once you do that, and now if you fire in this particular link, now what you will see is that you will see a big thing. Since I just have 19 records, it doesn't show much, but if there are multiple records, it'll show the linkages and things like that. Again, you can look at if you come and click here, links, who is doing what, who is retweeting whose tweets, and how they're related with each other, if they're in fact related each other. Again, there are multiple options that you can do, play around and look around. All in all, it's an interesting software. Again, another thing that I'd like to say before I close up is that you can ask the software to update every hour, and you can manage those settings on how frequently you want these informations to be updated. So this has been an interesting thing that I had not done. I didn't have any idea for that matter, but it's been a real interesting thing. And so when you're tweeting, it seems that anybody in the world can pull in your tweet and just have a look at where you've been tweeting, what you've been tweeting, and who are you tweeting, who are you following. It's kind of scary if you look at it from that way. Thanks for listening to me. Bye.